like, come on, you guys didn't have a conversation of could Liam kick Robert Saleh's butt? Like, come on, someone had to have it. And the thing is, I don't know the answer. I see both sides. Like, Robert's tall, and he's goes to the gym a lot. He's jacked. Like, but Liam's got like a little crazy in him. He seems like he's ready to throw because he's just like you said, like kind of wanted to prove like who's winning that one. Like I don't know. You know them better than I do.
Welcome into Scoop City on a Thursday. I'm James Palmer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We have a packed show for you. We have reporters, boots on the ground throughout the entire Northeast. We're taking a little tour. I love the leaves in that area of the country this time of year. Also, Diana Rossini and I are going to chat with Arik Armstead of the Jacksonville Jaguars, a Walter Payton Man of the Year. The Jags defense is on fire. And also, what is it like to be in a meeting room with Travis Hunter? Is he in? Is he out? Is he running some meetings? We'll get the most of it from Arik Armstead. Also, what's happening with Jaxson Dart and what is life going to be like without Malik Nabers and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? What is the panic meter at? Well, we're going to make a tour through Baltimore, through New England, through New York, through Buffalo, through D.C. So pack your bags. Let's do it. Joining us now, Jeff Zrebiec, the senior NFL writer, covers the Ravens for us for The Athletic. And Jeff, you wrote a really, really good piece about what's going on in Baltimore right now, that Harbaugh has, been through it before and has maybe raised all ships, I guess, in times of trouble. We've seen it, and that's why he's an outstanding coach. But at the same time, I look at expectations. I look at where they were this year. And at the end of your piece, you talked about possible sweeping changes. Sometimes expectations draw change. What's the take? I know we're only 4 weeks in on what's happening with the Ravens, and is Harbaugh potentially in trouble after 18 years?
Yeah, I think they're sort of at an inflection point a little bit on their season, and right now things aren't good. You had now the topic's the injuries, but they weren't really playing that well when there weren't the injuries. There was that discouraging fourth quarter in Buffalo, and I think the most alarming thing of all, the last couple of weeks, they've just been kind of beaten up physically, and anybody who knows Harbaugh trademark teams, they don't get beat up at the line of scrimmage consistently and not have much of a pushback. And that's the concerning thing of all, even beyond all the injuries. Just there's been really no pushback. The team looks beaten down, defeated in a lot of ways, and they haven't really answered the bell. And they're at the stage of the season where one or two more losses here, and it could get ugly quick, so... Look, every year we deal with this with Harbaugh. There's a sect of the fan base that would love for them to move on, that think, he's gone stale and they need to make changes. And over again, I say the only one that makes that call is owner Steve Bisciotti. John does not report to GM Eric DaCosta. He reports to Bisciotti. He's incredibly close with Bisciotti. So what Bisciotti thinks about the matter, he doesn't really talk to the whole media. He keeps things, close to the vest, so we don't know. But certainly, if this keeps going bad, you wonder if the organization would use this. Not that they'll blame John Harbaugh for all this, but ultimately, if you wonder if it goes bad, where they could use this as kind of a reset for the organization.
Yeah, sometimes it's just time, Jeff, right?
Yeah,
we saw it in Philadelphia with Andy Reid. It was just time, and both organizations actually benefited, Philly in time and Kansas City. You mentioned all those injuries, and you can't talk about this defense without mentioning the injuries, whether it's the entire defensive line, your best pass rusher, whatever it is. But you also hinted at there were some signs that this defense was not going to be what we maybe expected it to be, even from the start of the opener. Was there anything that we missed? With this unit that maybe that you saw, and you can look back at camp now and go, okay, maybe I did kind of miss this.
Yeah, two things, James, and I kind of was with everyone else. I wasn't necessarily saying they have the best roster in the football, but I certainly was saying they were in the conversation of having the best roster of football. The one thing, though, that should have kind of set off some bells, I think, you have this was a team that's traditionally being built from the inside out, right? That was always Ozzie Newsome's strategy. Load up in the trenches, build from the inside out. And this team was pretty thin once you get behind the starters on the offensive and defensive line. And they even had a couple spots on the offensive line starting where there were guys who were question marks that they were really going to need to make a jump. But we've seen it more defensively. And Nnamdi Madubuike's injury, his neck injury that he sustained, I guess it was in the Browns game, but it doesn't sound like it was one play that caused it. That has kind of started all this. They can't stop the run. They're not getting a pass rush, and he was a guy that was key in both. He was one of the best defensive, interior defensive tackles in football, and they haven't been able to replace him. Other injuries have followed, and they look real thin, on the offensive, defensive fronts. But the other thing, James, that I couldn't have foreseen, their stars aren't playing like stars defensively. And that's what worries you. Is that a scheme thing? Is that a coaching thing? Because there's so many guys who have sort of fallen off. Roquan Smith had a great game against the Browns, but he hasn't looked like himself. Marlon Humphrey's been attacked all year. I mean, this guy was an all-pro last year. He had one of his best seasons last year. Chiefs clearly went after him. They're not the first team this year. He struggled, and now he's hurt. And Kyle Hamilton, even, I think he's the best safety in football. The Ravens paid him like it. Has been solid, okay, but they need more. They need him to play like a star, and their top defensive players are either hurt or they're just not getting the production that you expect from those guys.
Yeah, playmakers, you want them to make plays and you pay them to make plays, and you have an ultimate playmaker at the quarterback position. And just for everybody that's listening or watching, Jeff, I know there's certain offenses built a certain way. It's schemed by the play caller, and you can plug a different quarterback in sometimes. How specific, though, is Todd Monken's scheme to Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, so much of stuff is based on his skill set and his ability to hurt teams with his arm and his legs, the RPO stuff, what defenses, keeping defenses guessing, how they have to honor the quarterback keeping the ball and not handing it off, and that kind of prevents them on the edge from pinning their ears back and just getting upfield. And so much they do in the middle of the field with Lamar, with the tight ends, and I don't think they expect to have him. I don't think they're ready to rule it out yet, but we all know what kind of direction that's headed. So it's a huge adjustment. And James, it's one of the things makes me wonder if we'll see Tyler Huntley a little bit this Sunday, because he has the athleticism and he can get outside, and you have to respect his legs a little bit. And, how do you protect a defense that's going to be without 6 or 7 starters? And you run the ball and you control the clock. And can they run the ball with Cooper Rush and not with the quarterback threat? And they haven't done it this year. So we'll see how they do it. But it certainly seems like a game that they could get Tyler Huntley involved to try to help the run game.
Yeah, real quick before we go, you mentioned the run game. So is Derrick Henry good? Is he fine? Do we want to run him on first or second down? What do you kind of equate to that so far this season?
I mean, I think some of it is situationally, right? They've been in the 2-minute offense a lot. They're not playing, and I think this traces back why they've had so many defensive injuries. Their defense is on the field too much. They've played a ton of plays, and not a lot of these guys played in summer in preseason. So now you're asking them to go from 0 to 100 and play over 80 plays in some of these games. So I think that's hurt, and I think the offense just hasn't had the ball enough. I mean, some of that early was good because they're making explosive plays and scoring quickly, but it's not leading them to really get into their offense. It seems like they're either playing catch up in 2-minute situations, or they're not having really an opportunity to do what they do best. Now, that's not an excuse. Todd Monken, and I think we'll see it this week, this is a Derrick Henry game. You need to live and die with him getting over 20 carries. Even if you're getting stopped at some point, you just need to protect your defense a little bit and protect Cooper Rush from those Texans edge rushers. But, a lot of it is circumstantial. They just haven't been in a lot of circumstances where they could really play their game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this the way it plays out, because the schedule, to me, Jeff, makes plays a part in this. When you have Houston, then you have the Rams, then you have your bye. You don't have another divisional game till week 11. So maybe you still can right the ship, before you really get into the back end where it's just so many divisional games, and there's a lot of questions in the division as well. So we'll see what ends up happening there, man. I always love chatting with you. Love sitting next to you in press boxes. And I love that room that you're in. It brings back a lot of memories, maybe nightmares. Good seeing you, man.
Great seeing you, James. Thanks for having me.
As we chug along here, Charlotte Carroll joins us outside. A very sunny New York Giants football facility, but she's taking care of business. She knows how to report from outside a facility in sunny conditions. What kind of player are we going to see in start number 2 for Jaxson Dart? Are we going to see him continue to swipe at defenders with his throwing hand? Have we been told anything by Brian Daboll that it may change in start 2 to make sure there's a start 3 for Jaxson Dart?
I think Jaxson Dart knows he can't do that move anymore, but we're not going to see a lack of aggression. You know, that's something that the coaching staff, they trust him. They trust him making the ball. They trust him making the right decisions. I think it's just being smart with that. And that's something that comes with playing time. And so with each consecutive start, assuming like he'll just get more and more kind of decision making and smart making in those decisions.
But you're right, though, with the offense, they need to stay aggressive. Staying aggressive, part of that is him using his legs and being a part of the run game and having that option game and all of these different things that you can utilize off of it because you don't have Malik Nabers. And so how does that change the coverages, the looks that maybe Jaxson Dart's going to have to deal with, and then also who steps up in his absence, Charlotte?
Yeah, this is immediately a less dynamic offense with Malik Nabers' absence. It's really unfortunate because you really want to have that star wide receiver, especially for a rookie quarterback. So you hate to see him. It's a huge loss for Nabers, huge loss for the Giants, and just a huge loss for the league because he's such a fun player to watch. And you know when the ball's in his hand, he's capable of really making insane catches and just getting the play done. Who's going to step up? We're going to kind of find out if someone could actually fill that role, which feels impossible, or if it'll be more committee by approach. It's just such a huge loss. But Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, we'll see if Jalen Hyatt can make an impact. He hasn't had a target this season, but he's a speedy receiver, so we'll see what that looks like. And if they turn to their practice squad.
Yeah, maybe Hyatt can at least stretch the field a little bit. We don't have defenses coming down on Jaxson Dart and company. Real quick, is there a conversation in the locker room that you've had with any players, anyone? I know the turf and MetLife has been something that has been discussed quite a bit. Is it still being discussed in that locker room after Malik Nabers?
It hasn't really been a talking point with any of the guys that I've talked to. So not really in my conversations. You know, they replaced the turf here a couple of years ago. I believe this is the first ACL injury since that replacement. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things that happened, and you hate to see it. We
hate to see it. And then when it's always a bigger named player, sadly, that's the only time we get to hear the conversation get louder sometimes. And that's kind of a bummer. But the defensive side of the ball before we go, I think we saw that defensive line show its teeth a little bit. You saw Abdul Carter move around. You saw him be, I don't know, unblockable at times. Is this the group that we expected to see? And are they going to try to maybe ride this front out as you don't have Malik Nabers and you have a rookie quarterback, that this could be the identity that they were looking for and maybe this was a step in the right direction?
Yeah, this is exactly what you wanted to see out of this defensive front. All summer, you know, we've heard promises of what this group could be. Defensive fronts have passed, and finally it all came together. You know, these guys have had really strong campaigns individually through the first 3 weeks of the season, but 27 pressures altogether, just an insane number, and they just made life miserable for Justin Herbert. And you could just, even with the sack count only at 2, he was just all over under pressure, kind of just very chaotic and causing havoc for him. So it's definitely something you want to see going forward. And I think they will, especially if they can play with a lead.
Yeah, play with a lead's huge part of that. And then what kind of bind do they put offenses in when you have interior pressure that can be as effective as they have, and you always have to protect your interior, and then you put peams and binds where then you can also get at it from the outside? Is there like a discussion there from the defensive side of the ball going, we have the ability to kind of play with an offense because we can go from the inside or the outside?
Definitely. I mean, it's exactly kind of the weapons you want to work with. And just when you've got Dexter Lawrence up the middle always there too, it's just chaos and confusion. You don't want to be the opposing offensive coordinator when you know that's coming for you.
Yeah. So close to scoring, by the way. So close to scoring. I mean,
close.
We wanted it. We wanted it so bad.
The gasp in the press box when he went down, it was unreal.
Yeah, right. I think we were all wondering what this celebration was going to be in the end zone. Like, what? Oh, man. Hopefully we get another one. Hopefully you see another one. Appreciate you joining us as always, Charlotte. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
All right, we're rolling right along here. Nicki Jhabvala joins us. She covers the Commanders, obviously, and she is in, I'm not sure where you are, Nicki, a park outside practice. Give me your location right now, just in case somebody may need to know it shortly.
Yeah.
So I got a lovely trash can next to me, some porta potties behind me, and the practice fields. So yeah, just came off the practice field. Saw a little bit of Terry McLaurin out there, and now I'm just hanging by the porta potties and trash can talking to you.
I love it. This is what you do for the show. Everything above your own well-being. That's why you're one of the best in the game, Nicki. Listen, you mentioned Terry McLaurin. We have like a Debo injury. We have a No Brown injury. Like, what's happening with the pass catchers before we get to Jayden Daniels' return? What will he be looking at on the field against the Chargers?
Yeah, I mean, the team as a whole is banged up, but especially on offense, especially, their pass catchers. So Terry, this is his first time back on the field since he suffered a quad injury. And he's just working with a trainer to the side. Noah Brown is out there. He's been out for a couple games dealing with a groin and a knee injury. And Debo, who was added to the injury report yesterday with a heel issue, he was working with one of the athletic trainers. So I would imagine Debo goes on Sunday, but they're banged up very much so.
Yeah. They're banged up, but they do have a bit of a Superman at quarterback, Nicki. And so what could we expect from Jayden Daniels? Will he be, I know they've been cautious with this, so will he be the same Jayden Daniels we have seen in terms of mobility, in terms of carrying the football? Any limitations? Will they tell him not to run? What's the latest in terms of the player we'll see against Jesse Minter's defense?
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to do everything he can. There will be no limitations from the coaching staff or any restrictions put on him in any way. The thing that I'm looking for, though, is I think he will be wearing that brace on his knee. He's been practicing with it. He's never played with a brace before. You do have to wonder if he does have to wear it, will that affect his mobility, which is, much of his game, his quickness to get out of the pocket and evade pressure. So we'll see, but that's the one thing that I'm really looking for. But there are no restrictions on him as far as, pitch count or do this, but don't do that or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. I think the porta potty is messing with the reception, so I have one more question for you. This defense, they couldn't get after Michael Penix. Justin Herbert's been hit a ton. Will we see a different performance up front from this Commanders defense?
Yeah, I hope so. They claim they will. They claim, they'll clean things up. Their 2 home games, they've been dominant. Their 2 road games, they've been trash. The explosive plays, the pass rush hasn't been there on the road. So they say they're going to clean it up. They have confidence that they will, but we'll see when they get out there.
I love it. Nicki Jhabvala, the queen of the puns. They played like trash. They'll clean it up. Several just little nuggets to tell you where she's reporting from.
Yeah.
Get back to the practice field and maybe get yourself a nose plug next time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good chatting with you, friend.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right, joining us now in Scoop City, Joe Buscaglia covers the Bills for us here at The Athletic. And Joe, maybe, I don't want to call them clunkers, but the last 2 weeks for the Bills, maybe not up to Bills standards. Is this, I'm curious what the issue in your mind might be a little bit, or is this they're getting everybody's best game, right? Like they're kind of a Super Bowl in a lot of teams' schedules.
Yeah, there is a lot to that. And I think from the Dolphins game a couple weeks ago, that was kind of the Dolphins Super Bowl too, because they're about they need to show something for Mike McDaniel. But yeah, I think it's really funny how the conversation in Buffalo has kind of changed. For years, it was like, how are they ever going to fix this offense? So hey, you left meat on the bone and you're still scoring 31 points the last 2 weeks. So there is that element to it. But the one area that I think everyone kind of keeps coming back to is the defense. They have some moments of really good play, and they've shown that at times this season. Like week 2 against the Jets, they didn't allow a single third down conversion. The Dolphins game, they were really good on first and second down. Third and fourth down, Miami converted 11 of 16. So it was 2 steps forward, 3 steps back in that perspective. Then against the Saints, the lowly Saints, what everybody thought them, who play really hard and play really fast.
Oh yeah.
They in the first quarter averaged almost 9 yards per play against the Bills defense. Not at all. But to the Bills' credit, they fixed it. And by the time through the second through fourth quarter, the Bills were only allowing 3.4 yards per play. So it's like they're trying to figure themselves out. They've got a lot of new pieces that they're trying to get assimilated into their entire structure. And they're hoping by the time that they get to December, January, and what they hope February, that it'll be that part will be kind of taken care of.
And hopefully a couple of pieces come back health-wise. You get your first round pick, hopefully in a couple of weeks. We'll see when he can come off of IR. With that said, and make sure, I hope you take this the right way. I feel like we're seeing a little less Josh Allen hero ball. I know he still makes incredible plays, but could there be a proof in the pudding of maybe a little bit more boring Josh Allen is a more successful Josh Allen? Is there a part to that coming, throughout the season and into the postseason, hopefully?
Yeah, for sure. And that is the one thing that has helped his game progress to the next level over these last couple of years. Like his processing ahead of the snap is so just light years ahead of where it was when he was even in his second year of starting when they started winning. He's manipulating defenses pre and post snap. And he understands what they're trying to do to him at all times. He kind of keeps that mobility aspect in the holster just whenever he needs to go to it. But they don't really do a lot of Josh Allen designed runs anymore. But when he needs a play, like against the Saints late, he rips off a 27-yard scramble and kind of breaks their hearts of a comeback a little bit. And then from a passing perspective, he did try to force one down the field against the Saints, and the safety kind of read the play, and that was his first interception of the year. And I guarantee you, knowing what I know about Josh Allen and how he operates, he beat himself up over it for the good part of the week leading into this week's practices. So I think he's taking what the defense gives. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They're certainly leaning into that. The running game with James Cook is as good as it's ever been. He is playing the best year of his career right now. So the Bills are basically at a point where they don't need Josh to take over games anymore. So it's kind of eliminated the hero ball element out of it. And he too kind of organically over the years has kind of eliminated that Wyoming Joshness out of himself over the last, I want to say like 2-3 seasons. It's been a very stark evolution. And like, if you put on the film from his rookie year to what he does now, you're like, is that the same player other than the name and the number and the fact that he runs people over?
It's been so impressive to watch the growth and the work ethic actually is obviously a huge part of that, and the attention to detail. We'll just leave the cape in the closet until we need it. And he's always so fun when he throws it on. You mentioned real quick before we go, James Cook. You look at the carries he has already this season. I know he put on a little weight. He wants to be viewed a little bit differently as a back, even though he's very versatile. Is this the usage we can see for him throughout the course of the season? Is this what we're going to see for 17 games?
Yeah, I think that's what he and his fantasy football owners would hope. I think I see you. I think they want to scale it back just a little bit in the regular season because they kind of have to. They're looking at it big picture because this is now they're 4-0. Odds are they're going to be in the postseason. I mean, something would have to really go wrong for them to not be in the postseason or to win the division and get at least one home game. And so they're not like taking that for granted just yet, but they still want to be smart. It's the reason why if guys are close with injuries, they usually wind up sitting them within a week. And that's just because they want them as healthy and as fresh as possible by the time they get to the late months and certainly into the playoffs. So for Cook, they have gotten away from what they did last year quite a bit. Like last year was a massive 3-man rotation between him, Ty Johnson coming in on third downs and some red zone stuff, and Ray Davis getting a drive here or there. Ray Davis has basically been put on ice this entire season. And Joe Brady even said something to the likes on Monday of, hey, we need to get Ray a little bit more incorporated. But, it's so tempting that when Cook is playing as well as he is, you just kind of go and run with it. But yeah, I think that is going to be something that kind of scale back a little bit, but not to a grand degree. Like if they are in a tight game, Cook's going to be on the field, because outside of Josh Allen, he is far and away their best skill player right now, and it's not even particularly close.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him, and as you mentioned, I am a fantasy owner, so I'm curious about the carries. It's been outstanding the way he's been able to run the football. Joe, enjoy the return of Stefon Diggs. I'm not sure if you're going to write that story, but I know there's probably plenty of people talking about it. We'll see if you end up doing it after the Patriots come to town for a big Sunday nighter. I think the Bills are maybe the least talked about undefeated team in football right now, with everything that's going on with the Ravens and the Chiefs, and Philly's 4-0 as well, yet everybody wants to talk about him. And with James Cook, and by the way this offense is running, make sure you go read an article that Joe wrote about the formations and the way the tight ends are being used. Read that at The Athletic. It's been a really, really good read for me just this morning. So appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, James.
All right, moving on. We got Chad Graff joining us now. He covers the Patriots for The Athletic, a big reunion game for a certain wide receiver. I believe you wrote about it on the site. Stefon Diggs, how important was it, I think, to have the game that he had last week before he makes this return to Buffalo?
Massively important. I mean, it was his first 100-yard game in 2 years since he played for the Bills. And so I think it's fascinating to look at his season in terms of he's still just 11 months post that ACL tear. And so when he signed with the Patriots, I kind of thought this Bills game might be his first game with the Pats. Like, he might start on the PUP list, and it might take him a while to kind of ramp up and get things going. And then from kind of day one, he was out there. He was out there in minicamp. He was out there in training camp. He would take some reps off and things off here and there, but it was clear he was ahead of schedule the whole time, to the point where he's out there playing more than 50% of snaps in the first week. And yet, while acknowledging that all of that is super impressive, I also think it's fair to acknowledge, like, yeah, a 4-week ramp up to get to that 11-month mark post ACL tear. It makes sense that the Patriots eased him in and that he was the number 3 wide receiver for a while, as crazy as it sounds for Stefon Diggs to be a number 3 wide receiver, let alone for a team like the Patriots, who have not had very good wide receivers in recent years.
Yes.
All of that leads to his breakout in week 4. And now I think he's got to be feeling pretty good, going back to what he admitted will be a pretty emotional game going to Buffalo.
Yeah, and you got to feel good as a receiver when your quarterback is starting to kind of stack some games a little bit. I know all eyes were on Drake May, and I kept talking to a lot of people I know in New England going, how's camp going? Yeah, Josh McDaniels can put a lot on your plate. There's a lot on the quarterback, specifically at the line. Like, how has this kind of marriage between play caller and quarterback, in your opinion, Chad, kind of evolved maybe since camp to what they're doing now on the field, now that Josh has kind of figured out Drake?
Yeah, well, to go back to camp, there was kind of some tepid reaction of, boy, this didn't look great from day one. There was a practice where he threw 4 interceptions in one practice, and a lot of people, myself included, kind of looking around like, this is the plan. This is what they're doing. And like, I think it was a little bit similar to what Ben Johnson was doing in Chicago, of, we're going to throw so much stuff at this guy early. And yeah, he's probably going to sink more than he's going to swim during the early parts of training camp and minicamp. And yet, I think it has led to this point where the Patriots are doing a little bit of what Drake does well, which is getting him on the move, using his mobility, parts of his game that frankly are similar to Josh Allen, which has been a big talking point here of, now Drake May seems to be the quarterback from that second year, taking that next step, as we all looked around all offseason, like, which one of these guys is really going to take the jump? So far, it's been Drake May. Number 1 in completion percentage, number 6 in passing yards, and that's while throwing 17 passing attempts last game in the blowout. And so you've seen everything that you've wanted from Drake May, and yet the only reason for pause is the passing defenses that they've played have just frankly been not very good. The Carolina Panthers have the best in terms of EPA per pass, and we saw, what the Carolina Panthers look like. So not exactly a murderer's row that he's gone against, and that's why this Bills game is going to be so important. I think it's prime time. It's against Josh Allen, but crucially, this is the first legit passing defense he's faced, and so I'm really interested to see how he looks against it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching. You've seen an increase in the play action game. It seems like there's all sorts of different things that we're kind of seeing. And I was always so curious because, like, the pilgrimage that Josh McDaniels went on, like what he was going to bring back, and it actually does kind of look like a Josh offense, in all honesty. To flip it over to the other side, how is this defense played? When I look at the way they play man more than they have. And to me, that matches up actually kind of well with Buffalo, with how much Buffalo puts attention in their offense between the hashes. And you can let your guys play outside on in terms of man. How do you think they match up defensively? Because obviously Josh Allen and that group is rolling with James Cook and Shakir and everybody that, and both tight ends that play in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure that anybody matches up particularly great with them.
I'm trying to find a positive here, Chad. I thought, playing man on the outside can help you maybe against this team sometimes.
I'm going to go a different direction of like the Bills love to play that big personnel. And the Patriots have kind of shifted. Like they, for a long time, could handle that because they liked their big safeties. Remember, they had Kyle Duggar and Jabril Peppers back there. A couple of like stout, hard-hitting guys. They've transformed. Duggar's on the bench. Peppers is gone now in Pittsburgh. And they're kind of going for the more field coverage guys, the speedy, smaller guys. Craig Woodson, who's a rookie. Jalen Hawkins back there as well. So that is, a little bit of an interesting spot to me. I would put the Patriots defense into kind of three buckets. The first being, hey, what did you absolutely nail? They nailed the defensive line plan. The game wreckers in the middle, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, they are legit. What did they kind of whiff on, or at least the plan hasn't gone according to plan? It's the linebackers. They signed Robert Spillane thinking he was going to just eat up tackles. He was going to be a difference maker. He hasn't been very good. Next to him hasn't been very good. So that's a spot that's got to improve. And then the total question mark of like, what is this going to look like has been the secondary. Christian Gonzalez, all-pro cornerback last year. He missed the first 3 games. He dealt with a hamstring injury that just lingered and lingered and lingered. He's the reason that they think they can play a lot of man is you put him on one side, Carlton Davis on the other. At Mike Vrabel's, press conference after signing Carlton Davis, he said, we want to play cat coverage, as in you got that cat, and let's go play. They have not shied from what they want to do defensively. They just haven't quite been able to do it because their best player's been on the bench.
Yeah. How different is this defense with Christian Gonzalez? Does it change all of that?
I don't know that the scheme changes all that much, but all of a sudden you got a guy who can just erase your top target. And so, I think against Buffalo, we'll see how that shakes out. Against a team like, Miami, they would just stick him against Tyreek pre-injury and let him go. It'll be interesting to see what they do against Buffalo. And also Christian Gonzalez is kind of just working his way back into this. He did not just follow Ted McMillan around last week against Carolina. He was, I would say, fine, good, not great, not what we usually see out of Christian Gonzalez, but that's to be expected. I mean, the guy didn't practice once in all of August, and so he's slowly ramping up back from this hamstring injury.
Awesome stuff, Chad. I love that you're in I don't know what kind of room this is. We don't like books apparently, but I think this is during the move, right? That's happening here in
yes,
in
the Patriots are in the
Place.
middle of a move to a new facility right next to Gillette Stadium. One of I think a lot of teams that are building new practice facilities. Yeah. So things are a little bit empty as this transition happens.
I get it. Everybody who covers the Denver Broncos right now parks in a courtroom parking lot next to the practice facility there in Dove Valley. Enjoy the trip to Buffalo. This is the time to go to Buffalo. This is the time of year
I've
to
done
enjoy it.
Plenty in December. Yes. I've never seen it in the fall, so I'm excited for this one.
Enjoy it, man. Welcome back to Scoop City. James Palmer, Diana Rossini with you, and we have a very special guest. Not just an NFL player, Diana, a Walter Payton Man of the Year. By the way, we have to say that we were talking before we joined this, Arik Armstead, that we were in the crowd for you to win the award at NFL Honors last year. We were there standing, clapping. I thought it was outstanding. Congratulations on that first, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I want to say this before we really get into things. Your vulnerability with the Armstead academic project, I respect that so much because my sister is a reading specialist for elementary school, and it's kind of, to me, I'm curious what your vulnerability has shown you in your interaction with all these kids that don't want to tell anybody reading's not coming easy to me. I'm kind of curious if there's something that stood out to you that you've been open with that, and that's allowed to kind of, maybe something special to hit you on why you're doing such great work.
Well, I really appreciate that because I feel that teachers and educators play the most important role in our society, which is educating our youth. But for me, I feel that it's my responsibility to be vulnerable as a person that people look up to, feel inspired by. It's my responsibility to be authentic and share with people about my struggles and different times throughout my life that have got to me where I've gotten now, and some of those ups and downs and the adversity, which make the process and life special, truly. And I know that it resonates with young people because I was just a young person just like them. And I see myself just like them. I just happen to have a cool job, even though people like to put professional athletes on the pedestal at times. I'm really just a regular guy that happen to have a cool job. And a big reason, the most important reason of how I've gotten to where I'm at is a whole host of people pouring into me and my environment and being extremely blessed. So I think that ability, really believing in humanity and that we're all extremely alike, just a little bit different, allows me to connect with people and gives me that inspiration and that drive and that motivation to want to see other people be successful and help in that effort.
Awesome.
All right, so we're going to go from really good to really bad. Do you think Robert Saleh could have beaten up Liam Cohen? No, I'm just kidding. No, I appreciate that. That's awesome to hear. But I do want to talk about the fact that you just faced your former team, and I know you talked about it already, and just the way the game even ended, and you helped your team get the win. What is that like when you're going up against people that you at one point really cared about and love? What was going through your mind there?
I think, those things don't leave. You don't take, 9 years of an experience, wasn't all great, but a lot of great memories and experiences and going through a lot with people. And that just doesn't go out the window, when you leave. So it was a experience in a moment in my career that, I'll cherish for sure. Especially, making a play to change that game in our favor and everything that came with that. But it was a great experience. It was great to see a lot of people that, I shared a lot of experiences with, and it was a great day for sure. So I was happy to go through that experience. And, my main goal that day was just to live in the moment, not try to put too much on it and I got to do this, I got to do this. At the end of the day, just go out there and play and see what the day brought us. And it brought us a pretty legendary day.
Yeah.
You're downplaying a strip sack to win the game, essentially, right, Diana? On your former team. And to me, what stands out is you mentioned your time in San Francisco, and you guys won a lot of games. And to win games in the NFL, you got to be able to close out games. And that's what you did in this game as a defense. That's something that in a lot of people's minds has maybe evaded Jacksonville over the last couple of years. They've had good teams and then getting over that hump and finishing games. What can you tell people in the locker room, or what is the secret sauce to being able to close out games, which is so important those last couple of minutes in the NFL?
Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is that every NFL game, is not everyone, but majority of NFL games are extremely close.
Yeah.
And they're one-score games, and they come down to, you never know what play it's going to be. There might be 4 or 5 defining moment plays in a game that are going to be in your favor or not in your favor, but you never know what play that's going to be. So that's why you have to give it your all on each and every play. But I truly believe that it takes time to learn how to win, and learn how to respond to losses as well, learn how to respond to wins, learn how to respond to adversity, learn how to close out games. All these things take time. You have to learn these things as a team each and every year, to be honest. Some teams can take what they've done in the past and use that for confidence and, we know how to do this. Let's get it done. But when you're trying to get things turned around, the culture, then, it's everyone's first time trying to figure out how how to execute it down the stretch and win games, and what are those 4 or 5 defining moment plays, and having them be on your side. So I think it's always learning, and I think for our team, getting off to a great start has been very refreshing, and it's always better to learn and get better with wins rather than losses.
Yeah, and this is an organization that isn't used to winning, whereas you come from a place that you tasted it a bunch of times. You know what it's like to be on a really good team, and you played for a former head coach who we know what Kyle Shanahan is, you know, and so now we don't know much about Liam. And
I want to know. Yeah.
Well, look, we have that, of course, viral moment, which I feel bad for him because we know there's so much more there than just that Duval moment. So you tell us, like, what is he like? What like, explain your head coach if you were gonna, tell people in your family.
He's a fierce competitor, someone who has an edge to him, someone who truly cares about, not only our team but football. It's everything to him, and you can see that in him, the way he speaks and the way he communicates, and he has a fire. I feel like when you look at our staff, first time head coach, first time defensive coordinator, first time offensive coordinator, first time GM, it's like like those roommates coming together. You're fresh out of college, and like everyone has an idea and trying to dominate and take over the world, like together, like as first timers. And man, like, so it's I feel like it's cool. That type of energy where like they want to be extremely successful, and they want to be extremely successful together. And this is their first time, and they're all, out here trying to leave their mark and have an impact in this league. So that's the energy that permeates through our team as well.
Well, that energy has somehow created at least 3 turnovers for you guys as a defense in every game. Like, this has been unbelievable what you guys have been able to do. Is this sustainable? And what do you attribute all of this turnover success to, Eric?
Is it sustainable? I think it's always the goal to turn the ball over. We make goals each and every game, win the turnover margin, get the ball out. It's always on our mind. But is it sustainable? You can do a great job of attacking the football, but they might not pop out at times. So, but for us, it's more of a mindset. It's a mentality that we want to bring to the game as a defense. And I feel if we continue to work, keep that same mentality week in and week out, we're only going to get better, because at some point there's only so much things offenses can do. And once you see every offense, it's like, okay, now we've seen everything, and now we can continue to get better and better and focus on our details and what we need to do to be successful.
What about for you personally, right? Like, you've been doing this a long time. You know how this all works. What's the one thing would you say during your week of preparation for a game is this like an absolute must for you that you have to do in order for you to be like, okay, I'm ready to go for game day?
That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. And for me,
there you go, Diana.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely film study. I have a process of film study that
makes you feel like pumped, like confident, like prepared.
Yeah. Some guys don't watch film. I don't know how they play without watching film. But for me,
stop watching film.
Some guys surprisingly don't.
Name them.
It's more than you would think, but also that works for some guys. Their brains work differently. Where it's like if it's too much, then they're playing slow and clouded.
Got it.
Yeah.
But for me, I gotta watch the run cut up. I gotta know like what the run game is going to be, like how they're trying to block us, and then the pass rush cut ups as well too. Like how are the offensive linemen? How are they getting beat? What are their stats? And my game plan of how I'm going to attack them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, listen, you mentioned some guys, we won't name names, about not watching film. I'm just looking from a sheer number of hours in a day, Eric. Like, Can Travis Hunter watch a lot of film? I want to know what's happening in the building. This is so rare. I'm so stoked about it just because we've never seen this before from any player. Can you kind of take us in the facility? How, like, does he jump from meeting room to meeting room? Do you look and he's in the defensive meeting room with the guys and all of a sudden he's gone? Or like, how does this work in the building? And you've been in the league for a long time. So I'm sure you're curious kind of about how it works.
He's a hard worker. He puts in a lot of extra time and a lot of extra work. He could have an offensive emphasis day, and then he has to put in extra time with the defense post practice or with his coach. I see it often. He's working with his receiver coaches on certain things after practice, or he might be with the DB coaches, like going through route concepts and breaking down coverages. So playing both sides of the ball requires a lot of extra work, and he's been doing a great job for us.
Yeah.
Could you do that? Like, could you do it?
Could I do it?
We can play some tight end, or what are we going to do? What are we going to do on the offensive side of the ball?
I think I don't know. Some of these offensive play calls be so long. I get so confused. I don't know. Not having, well, I guess I played offense in high school. I played offensive line and defensive line both ways.
Yeah.
It would be tough for sure. Just not having that like offensive thought process at all. Like all I really want to hear is like, what do I go left or right and just let me play?
Just let me go.
Do you ever look over at him though and just be like, like it just seems like so much work. You know, like it's hard enough.
Not really. I've never had that thought, seeing him. I think what he's doing is inspiring, really. Someone who is confident enough to not only attempt to do what he's doing, but actually doing it. And
what's better at, though? I can't figure it out. I feel like sometimes I like him on defense, sometimes I like him on offense. Like, what do you like him? Where do you like him?
Well, he's on defense. He's going to want him on defense.
I know. That's what I was just thinking. Shoot, that was a layup.
So want all the players on defense. Yeah.
No, I like him as a playmaker wherever that is on the field. You know, the best players are on the field to help us win games, and he's shown to have huge impact for us on both sides of the ball. So, but the thing I really love the most about it is, you know, when you're the first to do something. How inspiring it can be for people coming up later on. And like, imagine seeing someone's in high school right now or elementary school or middle school, and they're seeing Travis Hunter and what he's doing. And they're like, man, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna do even more. Like, imagine like the next, how he's breaking down barriers for athletes and like what's next possible in their minds. Like, these next generation of athletes are going to be like, I can do anything. Like, we're not even going to be talking about
like weird.
We're not even going to be talking like this is weird. I feel like in the future, I feel like there's going to be kids' brains unlocked. Like, oh no, that's nothing. I can go ahead and I'm gonna show y'all what I can do.
Yeah, well, I mean, his head coach in college played in the World Series and played in the Super Bowl. I think that's a pretty rare thing to do. That got me thinking. We were talking about you playing both sides of the ball. You played basketball at Oregon a little bit, right? Like, NFL players are obsessed with the NBA, I feel like. Do you feel like if we went that path, we could have found our way to the league if we picked one or the other?
Possibly. I could have had, maybe a stint. But being realistic, the NBA game has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I don't see like my play style back then. I don't see a lot of now. Like,
were you down on the block? What were we doing?
Yeah, I was like a skilled big, could score in the post, stretch the floor a little bit, could shoot. Like, Boris Diaw or Dewan Blair or a type like that. And I don't really see that in the game anymore. Yeah. So I don't know how long my career would have been, especially knowing like how the NBA has shifted.
Yeah. Oh, well, hey, still would have been a career.
Yeah.
League, man. Come on. You got a big one on Monday. a real big one on Monday. Monday Night Football. Everybody's been seeing what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing, and you're facing off against Kansas City. You've played against Patrick Mahomes. What I saw, and I know you guys have watched the film. I know you've watched the film. He looked really comfortable against Baltimore, and when he's comfortable, he's dangerous. You've gone against him, like I said. How do you make Patrick Mahomes, from your experience, uncomfortable on Monday night?
4-quarter game whenever you're playing against Mahomes, which I know all too well.
Sure. Yes. And sometimes past 4 quarters.
Yeah, you gotta be locked. You gotta be locked in for 4 quarters. And I feel like you can have success. Some of the defenses I've been on had success for a time, but that's why I said you gotta be locked in all game and be willing to, because he's a gamer. He does a great job of finding ways to win games. Like that's his calling card. He's talented. He's an extreme athlete and arm and quarterback and all that. But at the end of the day, I feel like his best trait is just being a gamer, just figuring out ways to win games. And so, all you can do is play for 4 quarters. Try your best to make him uncomfortable. Try your best to make him one-dimensional, and obviously don't let the run game get going, and keep him in the pocket and try to frustrate him and corral him, and play as hard as you can for 4 quarters. And I think that's the only recipe that has been successful is getting after him. Constant pressure, and being relentless, nonstop.
Awesome.
One more question before you go, because I was just thinking about this. I was thinking about your group, like just what your meeting room is like. Obviously, you talk about football because that's what you do for a living. But what's like what are like 1 or 2 topics that you guys are always talking about when you guys are hanging out, meeting? Is there anything specific that your group is like always either debating, arguing about, maybe, or even just like weighing in outside of just the typical football stuff?
Football players. We talk about we talk about the things that everyone else talks about.
Is there anything right now? Like, come on, you guys didn't have a conversation of could Liam kick Robert Saleh's butt? Like, come on, someone had to have that. And the thing is, I don't know the answer. I see both sides. Like, Robert's tall, and he goes to the gym a lot. He's jacked. Like, but Liam's got like a little crazy in him. He seems like he's ready to throw because he's just like you said, like kind of wanted to prove. Like, who's winning that one? Like, I don't know. I don't know. You know them better than I do.
I mean, we discussed that a little bit. I thought it was funny. I didn't see it live on the field, but obviously I saw the video. And
did you guys see that in the team meeting? They had to.
We didn't play
that on.
No, we didn't play that in the team meeting. But I know that he does have a fiery side.
Yeah.
And that gets us going as well too. Gets us going as a team. Someone who has an edge to him, and for sure. But in terms of what we talk about all the same stuff that everyone else is talking about. Like, if we may have a different
perspective.
We may have a different perspective. Like today, I saw the TV was on today at the facility, and it was like, did Micah Parsons' return? This is on ESPN.
Yeah.
They're like, did Micah Parsons' return live up to the hype? I'm like, the hype that you created? Like, you guys are the ones hyping it.
It's going around.
Did it live up to your own hype? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, you guys are the ones hyping it up.
I know. That's so funny to like see how you guys react.
Eric. That's so spot on.
The top, and the thing is, you could weigh in on our show if you ever like come across on YouTube or listen to us. Like, you'll probably feel the same way. Like, are you guys seriously having this conversation? Because we've been doing, all of us have been around it for long enough to know, like, sometimes there just is a true disconnect from what the reality of what's up and what we think is interesting and what the fans think. It's probably the biggest battle we all have.
Right. It's not interesting, but topics around the league, we discuss. But we have a lot of real conversations too, because we're all going through similar situations. Guys are in different stages of their lives, relationships, kids, those things that are, more important and serious. We have those kind of conversations in the locker room as well.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
Well, Arik, I know it's a small locker room in Kansas City. You know it. I maybe Liam will go crazy and throw a thing or two pregame. I don't know. There's not a lot of space in there, so I make sure we keep everybody safe. But good luck Monday night. It's been super fun to watch your defense fly all over the field. It's been outstanding. And again, all the work you do off the field has been unbelievable and well deserved and well credited with your Walter Payton Man of the Year. So appreciate you joining us here on Scoop City, Arik. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me.
All right, welcome back to Scoop City on a Thursday. I'm James Palmer. You know what that means. We're talking fantasy football. We're talking lists as well with my man, Jake Seeley. Jake, you sent one list to me, and then I got another list, a revamped list. I really understand why all the shuffling is going on, but the rules are the movies can't have a sequel, correct?
Right.
That was the rule. But then you make a very specific rule about that. But then on your list, you have 3 movies as number 1. So this is a list with rules, but no rules at the same time.
You should understand that by now when it comes to me. There are no rules. It is basically are the rules.
Well,
okay. So yeah, there's
okay.
Well, look, so it's revamped because originally the list was no sequels. Obviously, somebody in the comments were like, well, some of these are adaptations. I'm like, well, actually, dude, first of all, read the preface where it says it's just a fun list. I haven't seen every movie in existence. This is just my personal list, and it's from the 90s and the aughts with I think here's another rule. There's like 1 or 2 movies from 2000 teens mixed in there. But basically the movies I could think of, and I forgot some because you're talking about the revamped list. I originally did my top 15. We're almost up to 25 because there's ones I forgot, like Usual Suspects, great movie. Tommy Boy, great comedy. So there's other, but yes, I put a trilogy at the top, and it's we all call it's the Cage trilogy. There is no trilogy that I think. I mean, this is 90s and 2000s, so it's not Star Wars and all that nonsense. But so no Indiana Jones. But the Rock Con Air Face Off trilogy is easily a top 5 trilogy of all time. We make it a trilogy.
You make it a trilogy, I think. The graphic outstanding, by the way, Jeremy, on what's happening there. There's some things I like here. I was trying to tell you, put the bunny back in the box. You can't have Heat on here for much longer because there's going to be a sequel to Heat. So eventually I just
found that out too. And supposedly Edge of Tomorrow's got one that they want to make.
Okay, I dig it. I made a list, by the way.
Did you?
I made my own list.
Okay.
And
Groundhog Day. Good call.
I think Groundhog Day is perfect. Perfect in every way. It's the best movie in terms of manipulation of time travel or time of any film ever. And maybe number 2 is Back to the Future. But I try to hit on movies. Jake, this is like I try to be you. I try to put myself in your skin in like a Cookie Monster t-shirt and say, listen,
that's a scary place.
Like, what do I want to do with this? And I picked movies that when I walked out of the theater, I was never the same again. They just changed everything for me. And these all did that in one facet or another. Most of them, I never saw a movie like them before or since. That's kind of how I did.
Okay. Do you hear me typing? Because I'm making the list now 25 because I'm adding Groundhog Day and 7 to the list because those are 2 that should have been included.
Oh, wow. We helped each other out. People helping people. It's powerful stuff. There you go. I love it. That's from a Vince Vaughn movie.
Fantasy.
And you have one on there. And you have one on there in Wedding Crashers. Okay. Listen, let's get to a little fantasy talk, even though that's included in our movie section. Let's talk about Trey Benson. And what are we going to do if this was like, okay, now I got the replacement. Now we need to replace the replacement.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, the replacement isn't an easy answer because this isn't Trey Benson where it's like, hey, I have a top 15 running back for the rest of the season. This is now, hey, I have a timeshare. And what are we going to do here? I know Michael Carter claimed himself the lead of that backfield, and I was seeing some talk saying that he could be the early down option. But we've done the Michael Carter dance. I mean, we've actually done the Michael Carter dance with the Cardinals. We've also done the DeMercado dance, to be honest. And I'm going to lean slightly DeMercado over Carter for this reason. If they really are going to use Carter as the early down option, that means they're keeping DeMercado in the pass catching option, which is what we want in fantasy, especially if he's going to be out there in the 2-minute drill, as we saw even with Benson last week. But the other part of it is I don't think there is a non-zero chance that Demercado does have more of a lead than they're letting on, because he's a big dude. He's 5'9", pushing 220. It's not like he's a guy who can't handle early down work. It's just he's Demercado. He's not a top 25 running back in the NFL probably. So I do think it's going to be a split, which most weeks we would say just avoid the split. Don't start either one of them. But we are already into the buys. And there's Josh Jacobs and Bijan Robinson and even Tyler Algier all on a bye right now. So I think you kind of have to start both, but I would give Demercado the slight edge just because of the passing game work.
What are people doing with Bucky Irving? By the way, I talked to some people in Philadelphia after that game, and they were like, this dude is such the real deal. Like, this guy is no joke in terms of running against our defense. What's the take on Bucky Irving right now?
So it sounds like he's out for at least this week. The answer is just turn back to Rachaad White, who had the job before Bucky Irving snatched it from him last year. But of course, look at last year too. Before late in the season, despite how good Irving was, Liam Cohen basically took him to the last few weeks of the season to really bell cow, put that in quotes, Bucky Irving, where Rachaad White was still sprinkled in. And I know Rachaad White's been volume reliant, still good after contact. He's still a good running back. So I say Rachaad White is in the RB2 mix. I do think Sean Tucker will sprinkle in a little bit to the level of Rachaad White sprinkling in with Bucky Irving, but maybe even a little bit more. But that means until Irving comes back, Rachaad White will give you an RB2 value. I would start Rachaad White over both Cardinals running backs to give you an idea by a decent margin.
Mm. Okay. I see that. This is something that you and I were talking before we started taping this. Malik Washington, Isaiah Bond. I might need an extra receiver. I got injuries. I got buys. Isaiah Bond right now, if you wanted to pick him up on your team on ESPN maybe or somewhere, he doesn't even have a picture on his thumbnail. He's just Isaiah Bond, Cleveland Browns. What are we doing here with these two?
So definitely Malik Washington over Isaiah Bond. That being said, I thought Isaiah Bond was a top 5 wideout talent in the NFL draft. I would have taken him over Matthew Golden coming out of Texas. And I mean, you look back at that season last year. I mean, look at Isaiah Bond was better than Golden before he got hurt. Let's be honest about it. So, I think that the talent is there where it's debatable, but I believed in Bond over Golden. And I think that the question here is if it was Joe Flacco, I'd have a little bit more faith in Isaiah Bond. Gabriel will throw the ball down more downfield than Joe Flacco was. It can't get much worse. But of course, Gabriel being a quarterback raises a big question. So stash Bond. Malik Washington could be your answer, could be a lot of people's answer for injuries and a lot of wide receivers on bye this week. Because you're coming out of college, that final year of Virginia went ballistic. I mean, this is somebody that just because he was at Virginia and his size limited his ceiling of what people thought he could do in the NFL. But the good thing here is that if you're saying replace Tyreek Hill and not Jalen Waddle, so if this is replace Jalen Waddle, I think Westbrook-Akina would be more of a threat to Malik Washington because Malik Washington actually replicates Hill more than he does Waddle. And I'm not calling him Tyreek Hill. I'm maybe even 80% Tyreek Hill. But if he's 80% Tyreek Hill, you're going to have a wide receiver 3. Yeah, that is pretty dang good. And you could have the upside for the touchdown. But I think the biggest question should we just include it, just jump to the next question? If Darren Waller is truly back, I'm jumping ahead. I'm not even going to let you ask the question.
No.
I'm just going to do it for you. Darren Waller is back for the Dolphins. Another player that's calling his own, just like Michael Carter. I'm getting more involved this week, Darren Waller. Well, you just had 2 touchdowns. How much more do you want to be involved? And I know he's talking about the snap count and everything like that, but even if Malik Washington does step in for Tyreek Hill, I think that if you're shooting for upside, and this goes specifically for you, James, and then anybody in your situation, if you're thinking Darren Waller at the flex while I'm starting 2 tight ends this week over Malik Washington, the easy comparison, I keep making this for everybody, think of Darren Waller, just strip the name off his jersey and say Mark Andrews. You're going to have weeks where he's not involved because he's a tight end, but the upside any given week is to score a touchdown, 50-plus yards, maybe even 2, and give you a top 5 performance, even as you consider him as a wide receiver. Because the answer, that he is their red zone option. You 6'6", that athletic, and you're going to turn to Malik Washington or Jalen Waddle. No, Darren Waller is the answer there. So you're hoping for 2 touchdowns? That's your Hail Mary play? And Darren Waller would be the answer.
I'm doing it. I got him in my lineup right now. And I actually did it even before the show. So it makes me feel kind of smart that I did this, and then you said that, and now I feel like I'm on to something. I don't know. I'm 2-2. I'm not doing too great. Make sure you go and watch maybe just one of Jake's movies this weekend. If you're not watching football, just watch one of them. And Jake would probably say one of his top 3 number ones. Just pick one. If I am, I'm going Con Air. Con Air is better than the other two by far, I think.
I will agree with you. If I had to rank the three, I would go Con Air, The Rock, Face Off in order.
Yeah. The guy that is with John Cusack, the other guy, is such a loser. Oh, that guy's the worst.
The other guy.
The other DEA agent or whatever he is.
I know. I tried like the other guy.
Yeah.
The Other Guys. Good movie, by the way. On the list.
You put that in your top movies from 1990 to, oh, God. We got to say goodbye, Jake. Stay here. I'm going to say goodbye to this whole show while you're still here. Arik Armstead was with us. He was outstanding. For all the writers that were on this show, this is going to be a thing. We had a wonderful insight from Joe, Jeff, Chad, Nikki, Jake was with us. Charlotte, all of you, thank you so much. I'm James Palmer. Enjoy your football weekend. Cross your fingers for Darren Waller, 2 touchdowns. Let's go.
Thanks for watching Scoop City. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. New episodes of Scoop City drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.